Today we are going to talk about wind,
Wind, yes.
because there is a lot of wind
Absolutely.
in Europe. And also it's a combination of wind. We were triggered by, of course, the storm that's flying over Europe on
Ciaran.
Thursday. Ciaran? Yeah, we don't know how to
Ciaran.
pronounce it because we have the television on every day, but we have the sound off. So
Yeah.
it's on the screen the whole day, but we couldn't see it.
Yeah.
So that storm is flying over Europe, and also the biggest producer of wind farms came with their figures this week. And we thought that's a good combination to talk about the renewable energy wind today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny things to say about wind, because when in 2021 Biden he announced that he was going to invest massively in amongst others wind energy. But if you got a little bit, that since 1991 the total wind force, the wind power, has decreased with not less than 20%. And you would wonder, why is that? Is that climate change? Well, it is a little bit climate change, yes, because we could say that the thermostat of the wind is the temperature of the ocean. And we all know that, unfortunately, a lot of the ice on the poles, on the Arctic pole area, on the North Pole and the South Pole, is melting. And of course, that causes the sea to be less cold. So the shock between cold seawater and warm seawater is less heavy. Yeah, of course, it does make a lot of sense now, because we have Storm Ciaran, which is really maybe something, what I don't know where it comes from, but
It's only one day.
it's only one day. But in general, the averages, wind forces, wind energy, wind power has decreased with 21%. And companies in this field, in this sector, are suffering from that.
Yes,
You can say that, no?
you
A
can
lot.
say that. A lot, yeah. So is it now a good moment to step in? But first, back to the wind. I saw that we are in the southern part of Spain, and most of the wind is in this storm Ciaran is in northern part of Europe. But I also saw that in Madrid they cancelled a lot of flights, and also they measured in the northern part of Spain a wind speed of 150 kilometers per hour. So, and also here in the southern part of Spain, the door was going up and down,
Yes.
so we had to close.
We close the door.
We hope that you're safe and that you didn't have any accident. First of all, back to the wind energy, the renewable energy, the clean energy wind. You have two types: the offshore and the onshore. So the offshore, that's built in the sea,
Yeah.
and the onshore, that's built on land.
Correct.
And what is interesting, if you look at this sector, if you look from now until 2030. To 2030, there is a lot of demand on wind energy, and the what's now in the pipeline of the companies, the producers of the wind farms, that's not enough. So it's always good. So this sector is growing. It's
Yeah.
always good to invest, to be active in a growing sector. So they grow a lot, but they need to catch up, and they have to produce more wind farms to meet the not the deadlines, but the
The goal, no?
The goals.
The requirements.
the requirements. Yeah. We will put in the screen the chart that shows what is the demand and what is missing.
Yeah.
If you look at the biggest offshore wind developers, the biggest one is Orsted from Denmark.
From Denmark, yeah.
Came with figures this week. The second one is Vattenfall, and the third one, Spain, Iberdrola.
Yeah.
So they make
Yeah,
propellers.
They're the bosses, the chiefs.
In Spain, I think that almost 20% of the total energy is generated by wind energy, renewable energy.
Spain is a key player in this field, I think.
Yeah, because in the
Also
news
the-
also this week in Malaga, they said that they can, with renewable local energy, they can supply 500,000 households with it. That's a lot. That's a lot. Orsted came with figures.
Yes, and they were not good. The stock was really punished on Wednesday. The stock went down with less than 26%. The price at the moment is around 262 Danish crowns. And the main reason for that is because I just started my introduction with Biden. Two big products in the United States are put on hold, or paused, or even they pulled out of that.
Yes.
And that is, of course, when you have to give expectations on future revenues and profits, that is seriously affecting that. One positive note out of the US as well, there's one big project that they're building at the moment in Rhode Island. It's called Revolution Wind, and that one is still going on. However, less than half as much power as initially was was projected for the other two projects. So they were, you see here, so they were pretending something, they were going to produce just half of what those two were going to produce altogether. So a big problem here for Orsted. Tell us a little bit more in depth about the figures.
Yeah, they said we have to write off 4 billion euros, and that's of course a lot, and it was more than expected. Why? Mainly because the increased interest rates, but also due to inflation, so their buying price went up. And they said also, yeah, we don't have any support from governments. If you look at the profits before taxes and amortization, they lost 26%.
Wow.
But that was less than was expected in the market. So it was mainly due to the high interest rates. And also they said, but this is not everything, because we expect in Q4 of this year that we have to write off another 1.5 billion euros. And the market doesn't like those two things in a combination.
No, they don't like
it. Bottom line, they made a loss of 3 billion. They said, okay, at the same time, we will cut costs because we want to maintain our high levels of rating. If you look broader in the sector, and if you look at the company like Siemens Gamesa, they make wind turbines, and they're also suffering because what is they are producing something in front of the coast in America, and the problem is that those products take so long, so they make prices in the beginning, and when the prices goes up during the project, the buying prices, the cost of interest,
that's one of the disadvantages of wind energy is, first of all, the laborious activity to get it going. I mean, you have to get a plant, you have to get a backup station. It's so arbeidsintensief, they say in the Netherlands. You need so much activity to get it going, and also with that a lot of costs. And another point is that, unfortunately, what I just said also, wind is changing per area. So what was initially, that's a big problem I read in the Financial Times about Orsted, is they had projects going on in areas, and all of a sudden the wind was less there, so the output eventually would also be less, so they had to move it. And what they're moving now for this whole sector is they were going to make floating turbines. They can move them from one area in the sea to the other area in the sea. They're nowadays really, really expensive because they work with ballast weight at the bottom that is floating to keep it leveled. But eventually that cost will fall. But for now, Orsted is not making any money on that. So
you said, okay, it dropped with 26% this week based on the earnings.
Yeah.
It's now trading around 260 Danish krones. The top was this year around 700, and because it dropped already from 700 to 300 something.
Correct, yeah.
So it's already down this year from 700 to 260. And the top before was at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, was more than 1,300 Danish kroner.
Wow.
So from 1,300 something to 200 something is a big loss. So from that perspective, is it interesting to start looking at such a company, such a share to invest in?
Well, I will not say that it's interesting or not, because I'm not allowed to. But and that's maybe a bit flawed to say, but it's the truth. If you look at it from a dividend perspective, well, the expectations for this year were 5.25% of dividend.
But then, the losses.
If they make these losses, are they going to pay the out of pocket? What are they going to do? The target price, based on the analysts, but of course they have to still, I think, blend in the results from last Wednesday, is 563 Danish kroner. So that's doubling the price, even more, slightly more than doubling the price. But if you look at the net income, that is minus 7 billion Danish kroner this year. You're going to be, and if you look at the revenues, it's going down from almost with 40%.
126 billion Danish crowns to a little bit under the 100. So that's already in the figures. Yeah. But you said also something about you have a lot of ETFs and of course mutual funds, but mainly ETFs that invest in renewable energy, and wind energy is a part of renewable energy, and those ETFs are not doing very well.
And there's a really good reason. Also, if you look at companies like, we're going to maybe list it sidestep, but they work in hydrogen, for instance, or solar energy. What is good for for the environment is not by default good for your portfolio, literally and figuratively. So
Now, this is a really good example.
This is a really good example.
Unfortunately.
And also look at like companies like Ballard Power Systems, you know, one of the largest hydrogen producers. Same problem. Stock prices, you would say, but this should be now with everything that's going on, it should be booming now. Completely also lost like 80% of the share price. Same thing here.
Yeah, to trading around 260. The profit per share is expected this year still, but I don't know if they will adjust, the analysts, in the coming days. It's still 17.
Yeah.
That makes a price earnings of 15. Mm-hmm. I looked at Yahoo Finance, and they expect more revenues next year, more profit. The profit will go up to around 21 Danish crowns, and that makes a price earnings of 12.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting to see what will they do the next quarter. The 1.5 billion extra that they reserved, maybe that will be better than that. How can they cope with the costs? How can they deal with the interest rates?
Yeah.
And let's see what they present in the beginning of 2024.
It's
So
extremely interesting.
Renewable energy is really good for us all, and from an investment perspective, you have to do your homework with everything, but look at it and draw your own conclusion. But I think it's now it starts really interesting to follow this sector within the next months.
Oh, definitely. And like I said, for the future, this might also be like a moment to be on the front row. But give it some time. Give it time, what Casper says, wait till the beginning of 2024 to see what will be the outcome for the year. Thank you for watching, and we'll see each other next week.
Give us your time.